This story and more on the next Christian World News.
The countries of the former Soviet Union are racked with social problems stemming from the moral vacuum created by decades of atheistic communism. AIDS, drug abuse, and corruption plague those societies as well.
Christians say that the young people are the best hope to reintroduce biblical values to society. Heather Sells brings us the story of a unique program that's helping them fulfill that goal.
Here in this clinic lies the future of Ukraine. Young children, many suffering from tuberculosis and without parents. Most come from homes devastated by alcohol and drug addiction. All of them need much more than Ukraine's government can provide.
These children are orphans. They have no guardians. They have no shoes and no clothing. We ourselves have to be merciful and provide for them.
The medical equipment is ancient. There are only 3 full-time doctors and a handful of nurses to care for as many as 140 children. But there is also Oksana, a volunteer who tells the children about Jesus. Every week she comes to this clinic to sing with them, play games, and teach them the Bible.
My heart is just for them to teach the Bible because this world cannot give them hope. The hope is only with God.
For 3 years now, she has worked with the orphans, investing her time, her money, and her life. She says that's the only way to really help them.
Children open their hearts only if you're with them in a round, if you spend time, not just academically teach them the Bible they would never listen to. You have to play, you have to talk to them, you have to know their need, what is their pain, what are their sorrows, what they like to do. Then they open their hearts and then they're attached to you and then you can show them what Jesus can do for them.
Oksana is part of a new movement that is fighting for Ukraine's future. It is a movement of Christian young people who bring biblical values into a broken society. Ukraine is a land where drug and alcohol addiction are epidemic, with one of the highest infection rates of HIV/AIDS in Eastern Europe, and with more than 200,000 orphans in state facilities. For Oksana, standing up to the giants that are destroying her country takes not only faith, but training. That's why there's the School Without Walls, a unique training program that's turning passionate young Christians into agents for social change.
The first followers of Jesus were fishermen who became disciples. Our goal is to lead those young people from fishermen to disciples, to take ordinary Christians and make them ministers.
Mikhail Chernikov is the vice president for the Association for Spiritual Renewal in Ukraine. ASR is training more than 2,200 students in 44 Schools Without Walls programs in Ukraine and the former Soviet Union. The goal? To create a ministry force strong enough to counter the tide of materialism and hedonism that has filled the moral void left by decades of atheistic communism.
The Russian writer Dostoevsky said, "The devil is fighting with God, and the battlefield is people's minds." We have to tell young people that the battle is still going on today. God is calling young people to fight this spiritual war.
Candidates are drawn from local congregations, and pastors and church leaders teach the courses. Students meet to study topics like theology and biblical studies in church buildings, and do practical ministry under the guidance of experienced ministers. Steve Patty, an independent ministry consultant, says it's a powerful combination.
It's very interesting. In formal education, we often take students away from their homes, from their churches, and bring them to a place away from their worlds in order to get trained. School Without Walls trains people in the middle of their worlds. This gives an opportunity for praxis, for a kind of learning that connects theory with experience in ways that at least it appears are transformational for these students.
And change is happening. This pastor says his congregation is growing because of the School Without Walls program.
Because of School Without Walls training, the church started having a more significant impact in the society. For example, those students that were trained through School Without Walls, they're reaching out to our community. They're reaching out to those street kids, and street kids, start building relationship with our people, with the graduates. So they join our church. There is ministry with youth, with alcoholics, with former drug addicts. Because of the motivation, that School Without Walls students receive, they're reaching out to all those groups in our community.
They're also reaching Ukraine's next generation of leaders. Historic Ostrog Academy is one of the oldest institutions of higher ed in Eastern Europe. School Without Walls students are allowed to hold lectures on HIV/AIDS and drug prevention on campus. The Academy's president says their work fits with his university's mission to reintroduce Christian values to society.
The Ukrainian nation is a Christian nation, and I think that we are called to show other nations or other countries how this Christian ethics inserted into school curriculum, young people can change the nation.
That's what School Without Walls is all about, to train next generation of church leaders, how to penetrate this world, how to become Christian leaders in business, politics, social sector, how to fight corruption, AIDS, poverty, how to bring the moral values based on Christian biblical morality into this world and change entire former Soviet Union for Christ.
As for these orphans, the doctor says Oksana's work is changing their lives in more ways than one. Several have stopped smoking and drinking, and they're learning how to forgive the family members who abused and abandoned them. This girl made a special request.
What did you want? Скажи, Софійка, що ти хотіла тільки що? Просила мене.
Біблію.
I wanted a Bible, a thick, colorful Bible.
Why do you want a Bible?
Чому ти захотіла Біблію?
Вона цікава мені, я її люблю читати.
I love to read the Bible. This is a very interesting book because the life of Jesus is all there. This is the book which answers all our questions. It gives us the directions how to live.
Directions that may lead Ukraine and the entire former Soviet Union towards a brighter destination. Heather Sells, CBN News.